Welcome members to another weekly market update where we look at some individual trades, and I'm thinking aloud here. You're looking over my shoulder on a Sunday evening. It's not rehearsed, and I see it as I call it as I see it as I'm looking around. Let's look at my other video first, as always, for the overall market view, long and short term, which is decidedly up and going strong and making me increasingly nervous for at least a short-term correction. But there's still no signs of that yet. So let's look at what else is going on. I mean, one is tempted at this time to, great, I've got some open positions, let those stocks run. But at the same time, don't want to get into anything new right here, not really. So I'm looking at other things like commodities, currencies and things like that. And what's been interesting, I've been commentating on gold, and so far it's been as I predicted. The gold miners lead the way. The juniors broke up above their 40-week, then the bigger ones. We had a bit of a setback this week on the miners, as we can see here by looking at GDX. It broke above a couple of weeks back above that 40-week line, and rather frustratingly turned back round this week to close just below it. But what I'm still liking, the RSI here is still above the 50% line, so I'm kind of like not giving up on that one yet. The juniors, GDXJ here, still above it, and the rising 40-week. So I'm still in that trade. As you know, that's one of my open positions. And in fact, this little pullback here is a nice entry position with a tight stop loss if you missed it already. So, and then the metal has been catching up and responding after that, shocking drop here. It's really, really making a vicious comeback here. The RSI is about 55%. Still not. I would wait for this to close. If one was looking to, buy some gold, I would like at least to close back above the weekly. And this 40-week to start turning back round again. But the miners are doing great and they lead the way. So let's look at let's have a look at what's going on with the currencies. The euro, doesn't have a heartbeat. I don't see that as tradable just yet. The pound, for anyone, and I've people who's asking me about when is this dreaded exchange rate going to change, and the pound is just terrible, bouncing along the bottom right here. Doesn't mean it can't go any lower. Just look at this 40-week line here. Absolute elevator to hell right there. Wouldn't want to look at that until it might be good, be shortable here, but right now it's just stuck in this kind of miserable channel down there. Anyone who's looking to change or assets or exchange and things like that, I'd be looking to change sooner rather than later. FXY was one I shorted about here, and they took profits up here, and as you can see, that's still it's making a comeback, but still so we did well to get out of that, take the profits when we did. Let's look at the gold currencies, because that's interesting. We've got Australia and Canada, and they're kind of responding a bit to gold. It's kind of flattened off at least and stopped the descent. That's the FXA, which is more, Australia is more of a gold currency, and we can see that here. It's just sort of gradually starting to pull up there. So and as you can see, this is a currency that it is tradable. It's not chaotic. It kind of does what it's supposed to do. So keep an eye on that one. Let's also look at oil. We've got questions. I've got a few questions this last week about commodities and different things. Oil, again, stopped just like all commodities, gold included. It's stopped. Basically, what's happened is the dollar has stopped its rapid appreciation, what we saw, and that was what's killing currency, the other currencies and commodities, gold included. We see this. This is a very orderly kind of leveling off here after that massive drop, and there could be hope in store yet for oil. The banks, XLF financial sector, has been, you see how this is kind of in lockstep with the market. You can see how it's the banks that are really driving this rally, and they've been long overdue for a comeback. So, we just need to be aware that this thing is very financials dependent. Let's look at some individual trades. Royal Gold has been a bit annoying. It kind of let's look at the weekly chart of Royal Gold. it stopped. Strictly speaking, it stopped me out this week just with a tight stop loss there. The RSI is kind of on 50%. That's fine. I'll get back in again as and when the weekly closes above 40 week. CS is steady Eddie, just slowly, still in this uptrend. This isn't like a high flyer, but it's a financial stock, and it's still in its upwards trend there. CF has dropped back a little bit, and I am tempted to, if it goes any lower than this line here, around 31.30, this area here, I'm going to sell half. My stop loss in this, remember I got in down here, the stop loss in this is a weekly close for 40 weeks, so still plenty of profit there. Anything has been else I've got an eye on. That one hasn't been triggered just yet. I was looking at that one to get into it. What else do we have here? PEIX. Yeah, that one still. I was talking about entering here, and that one's still doing fine. If you look at the weekly chart, you can see there why I wanted to get in at that level. It's an upwards trending 40-week line, and it's bounced back to it, and I entered here with a tight stop loss. So that one is going well. Let's have a look at something I haven't looked at this yet. Something I was stopped out from before. Seadrill, that's still out there. One stock that I couldn't spread bet that I was frustrated about, but I did it on options anyway. Remember, you've got to be, don't be a one-trick pony. I've said this before. If you can't find a stock, perhaps in this case, because it's a very, very cheap stock. If it's not an IG index, IG index is not the universe. You can buy a stock, you can buy options. So this is a stock I was looking at, and you can hopefully see why. Look what an orderly chart it is. Look at how it respects this 40-week line, and look at all the upside there is. It's 194 now, and it once was up at 42. But more importantly, it's now broken up above its 40-week line and done a very nice orderly pullback. Which makes a great low risk entry point. Cheap stock. I mean, who needs? You don't need to spread bet with everything. If you can buy something for $1.94, let's look at the daily chart. You can see what I mean here. There's a nice high breakout on volume above its 200-day. Pulls back, riding its 50-day line now, which I like. I think that's a great one. I'm also still in TTPH. That one bumped me off. And here's an example of a stock that it bumped me off, I think, once or twice. And I just keep getting back in because I want in on the upside. And there you can see it. In, out. And now I'm in again. Because, again, look at all that upside right there. This is a wild horse that wants to keep throwing off its back. I'm not having any of it. And hopefully this time, as it forms this quite an orderly little flag up here in between like 5 and 550, hopefully this will be the one. So that is all I'm going to look at for this week, and I will speak to you next time.